Day 2. It's been just over 24 hours since everything came to a halt. I feel that I need time to pause and clear my thoughts and take a few notes. I'm not sure what happened. It feels like the world has come to a complete stop. I came across a grocery store yesterday. The shelves were empty. I suspect a solar flare, or maybe an EMP from one of the various nations or terrorist groups that want to see our country in ruin. It's not very likely that I'll find out the truth in my lifetime. I'm moving slow and careful. The miles are not passing quickly at all. I can't afford any mistakes, and getting to Alpha is going to take much longer than I expected. I'm headed for our group's rally point, Alpha, about 5 miles on the other side of Fordtown. With any luck, I'll be able to gather some intel, resupply, and continue on to one of the base camps. Day 4. I sat and forced myself to be calm. I pulled the little Gideon's Bible out of my pack and read the 91st Psalm, and then I read it again. It helped me to gather myself. Feeling more at peace, I headed towards Alpha location.
Six hours ago, everything went dark. No communication, no cars, nothing. Move according to prior instruction to location Foxtrot. I have verified that caches number 1 and number 2 along route Alpha Foxtrot are secure. We'll look for everyone there. Take your time and arrive safe. Rick.
I arrived 3 days after the event with James and the boys. We are all well. We crossed the ridge just west of Oaks Landing and could see massive amounts of smoke in Clarkstown. Dozens of the cars on the interstate were burning also. The mountain bikes are holding up well, only 2 flat tires so far, but both were repairable. We've seen nobody on the trails except for a few couples out backpacking who had no idea that anything had happened. I'm leaving this note at dawn on day 4, just as we are leaving. See you guys soon. Amanda, James, David, and Jeffrey Bridges.
By my count, I'm here at noon on day 4, just a few hours behind the Bridges. I was on the wrong side of Clarkstown when everything went down. Made it home before sundown, changed the points and condensers on the old truck. Got the 4-wheeler running with spare parts I keep in the Faraday cage. Bug out bag, plenty of food, and all loaded up by 2 a.m., I'm guessing. Got pretty far until I ran into all the dead cars. Packed up what I could onto the 4-wheeler. Should catch up with the others soon. Robert the Bear Robertson.
Here on day 6. Seems I'm in the middle of the convoy. Doing all right on supplies. Anyone that arrives after me about a half-mile down Route 47 is a stalled and abandoned bakery truck. It's filled with plastic-wrapped cinnamon rolls and pies and snacks. I can't believe it hasn't already been emptied. I also can't believe how many cinnamon rolls I eat. See you at Foxtrot, Ed.
Bug out bags. What are they? Why do preppers have them? What goes into them? Today we're going to answer those questions. We're going to show you a bug out bag. I'm going to show you several. We're going to show you vehicle kits, survival kits, carry bags, all the things that you might need during an emergency or crisis, the things that you want on your person, in your vehicle, at your home, or on the job site that you'll want close at hand that you can deploy immediately. We're going to get into bug out bags, but we're not going to look at them first. First, we're going to look at a get home kit. This stays in my vehicle, and there's several compartments to it, several sections. First, a quality survival kit. Compact, essential things, not everything you'd want to stay comfortable, but just enough to get by. It's light and it's easy to deal with. In our part of the country, we have several chemical factories. If they have an accident, it will be a tremendous priority to have a quality gas mask readily available that I can access in under a minute. So this stays in the vehicle, very close at hand. Quality first aid kit. You have to be very familiar with its contents, quickly able to deploy them. There's lots of times that you'll find an accident, a crisis, something that's happening to someone else that doesn't directly affect you, but you need to have the first aid kit to help that person. So this is going to be included in our kit. It lives in the vehicle and it's part of our get home bag because it's so important. We're going to include clothing relative to where we live. This is a Frog Tog rain suit. It works really well. It keeps out the rain. It helps keep you warm. It's okay in the summer. It's great in the winter. We're going to make sure we keep quality footwear and clothing, extra pants, a good shirt, a good hat. If you're stuck in an office job, you don't want to have to walk home, walk for miles or days in your dress clothes. That's not going to work. You got to have something tough, durable, and comfortable. In this kit, we're also going to include a good radio. It picks up AM, FM, shortwave, whatever you can find. You want to be able to stay abreast of the situation while you're walking. You don't want to have to rely on what's in your car. You need something small and portable. We're going to keep plenty to drink. Several bottles of your favorite beverage, Gatorade, Powerade, something. You got to have plenty to drink because you might have a long way to get home. And last of all, the bug out bag. It helps you get away, but it can help you get back home. Very important. And we're going to go into detail on this next. Now we're going to get into the bug out bag, the meat and potatoes of what we're carrying. This is where most of our gear lives. It's the heaviest, it's the bulkiest. It needs to be the strongest, and it needs to be as light as you can make it. If you're going to have to carry this thing all day or multiple days, you don't want it dragging you down. This one's about 10 pounds full. Not too bad. You can get them a lot bigger, so big that you can't walk up anything. And you can make it so small that nothing useful fits in it. So try and get a good size, make sure it's durable, sturdy, not something flimsy that's going to fall apart. Practice with it a little bit, make sure if there's any defects in it, you find them out and you fix them. On this one, there was one of these little latches was no good, and I had to deal with that. But now everything has been tried for months. It works great. You want to make sure you've got plenty of compartments so you can split up your gear. If you've seen the huge military rucksacks with one giant empty pocket, you put all your stuff in there, whatever you need, you're not going to find it. So you want to make sure you can get to what you need quickly and easily. Let's get into this one a little bit. We're going to start in this outermost compartment. Around here, if you're having to hike at home, you need plenty of bug spray. Notice I'm keeping this in a Ziploc bag. If it leaks out, it makes everything kind of sticky and nasty, so you protect it some. I've included some pain relief. You're not going to have much caffeine, you're going to be exerting yourself, you might get sore, you might have a headache, so you want to be able to deal with that. You don't need that dragging you down. Bite and sting kit. You get bit by a snake, you get stung by something, whatever, you want to be able to deal with this. It's hard enough having to walk all the way home for a day, 2 days, 3 days. The last thing you want to have to deal with is wondering whether or not that snake was poisonous or not. You want to be able to make sure you can get the venom out. Spare magazine. This accompanies the handgun that lives in the center console of the vehicle. Chambered to 9mm, it's a good place to keep a spare in case I don't have time to rummage around and get some other firearm. I've got something ready to go. Write in the rain, pen and paper. You can completely submerge this stuff and it still works just fine. You might have to take some notes. What happened? What did you see? What was going on? If you need to report this later, you want to have your facts straight. If something interesting happened, you want to be able to write it down. Good stuff to have. And a little backup snakebite kit. It weighs next to nothing. Why not have a spare? Next compartment. Again, in a Ziploc bag, a gun cleaning kit. A little bit of fabric, a boar snake. This one happens to be chambered in 7.62 by 3.9, so it'll work for a lot of different calibers. I use this as a patrol bag. The rifle that accompanies this normally is an AK-47 type weapon, so this is perfect. And I've included a little bit of cleaning and lubricating oil. Again, this isn't leaking for now. It could. It lives in a Ziploc bag. Next compartment. You can see why these compartments are helping. This stuff would get a giant mess if it was just all in one big open thing. Toilet paper, you'll want that. I guarantee it. Trash bags. You may have to collect some water. You may want an extra means to keep water off of something. You may need to carry something else. Whatever, trash bags, contractor grade, very tough, very useful, and they weigh next to nothing. Of course, we'll have a good survival knife, very simple, fixed blade, very sturdy. This is a Spec Plus brand. They make very tough knives, but not too costly. You're having to hike a long way home. You may or may not know what is ahead, who's up there, who's not there, is there danger, is there not. So let's include some quality binoculars. Now these are going to cost you. Good binoculars are usually large. Good binoculars that are small are expensive, but these work really, really well. Yeah, you could bring a giant set of binoculars, but you don't want that extra weight. But you will be able to see what's up ahead of you or behind you. Next, we're going to include a way to start a fire. This is a flint and steel. This is by Strike Force. I've had this one for over 20 years and it still works great, but there's a lot of options out there in the market. Make sure you include a couple of alcohol cubes. These are something you light with the sparks off your Strike Force and you can get a good solid blue flame going for several minutes. That gives you plenty of time to start your campfire. And last, of course, just a regular spare lighter. This gives us multiple ways to start our fire. Next compartment. We're going to include a quality long sleeve shirt. Now this bag is packed, this kit is packed for summer weather, but it can still get down to 50 degrees at night. It'd be nice to have a long sleeve shirt. If nothing else, it's camouflaged, it'll help me blend in a little bit if I didn't want to be seen. Also, a spare canister for the gas mask. It could take several days for me to walk home, and that could be several days stuck in ammonia or some other chemical from the chemical plant that's not too far from where I have to work. You gotta have a spare if it's something like that that's important. Next, there's some food and rations in here. These bars were made to keep on ships. They last for years. They have a very high fat content. Each one of these is 2,400 calories. They taste okay. They're not so wonderful that you would snack on them at home, but they're certainly not terrible. I think I've got a coconut and a lemon bar. Anyway, these are approved by the U.S. Coast Guard. They keep for a long time, and they'll keep you going all the way home. Very, very calorie dense. Next, we're going to have a good sports drink. You're going to be stressed the first few hours. You're going to have a lot to do. You want something that's going to keep you going. Not really a soft drink, not something that's going to make you thirsty, but something that's going to be exactly what you want. If you're working out, running, if you have to sprint, you're going to want to recharge. So keep a good sports drink. The bottle you're not going to toss. Once you're done with it, you're going to keep this and refill it with water the first chance you get. Spare socks. Your feet get wet, you're going to be miserable. In the summertime, it's bad enough. If you have to bug out or get back home in the middle of winter and your feet get wet, you've got a real problem and it can be dangerous. Next in the bag, I keep a washcloth and a towel. Once you've been out for a day, 2 days, 3 days, you're not even going to feel human anymore. You're going to want to be able to wash your face, wash the bug spray off for a few minutes, get cleaned up, feel human again, and then keep on going. You don't have to have it, but it doesn't really weigh anything, so put it in there. I keep a spare box of shells. This is for the 9mm. This is what lives in the center console of the vehicle. It gets grabbed when the get home kit is used. So, spare ammunition for that gun. Quality gloves. This is not the cheap dollar store $1 gloves. This is the good stuff. You can feel your gun, you can use your equipment, you've still got good dexterity, but it's going to protect your fingers, it's going to keep you warm if it's cold. You want to have really, really good gloves. Don't skimp on this. A big spool of paracord. You know there's 1,001 uses for this. It's good stuff. Don't just get some twine, get 550 paracord. And make sure it's green or black or something that's going to blend in. Leave the neon orange stuff at home, leave it for the teenagers, but get some of this and put it in the bag. Last compartment is going to have your water bladder in it. We leave this empty for a reason. You fill it up with tap water, even if you fill it up with bottled water, it's going to start to go stale. It's not going to be what you want to keep stored for weeks or months in your bag. So you keep it empty, you get to a water source, you fill it up, and then you purify it while you're on the go. Last of all, your individual first aid kit. Note the red string. Red string means, hey, there's first aid supplies here. This is important. But if you go into this bag, you know you've got a real serious situation. Now notice this is attached along the molly strips so it doesn't fall off. On the subject, make sure your bag has molly strips because you might want to put other stuff on it. Back to the first aid. You can see it's tethered so you don't lose it. You get hurt really, really bad and you have to use this stuff on yourself, you're going to be going into shock. You're going to have a hard time, so you don't want this dropping and falling away somewhere. On the outside is a tourniquet, something of last resort. On the inside, gauze, tape, an Israeli bandage, another tool to keep nasal passages open, more gloves, and of course decompression needles. If you don't know how to use any of these things, don't take them, because this is stuff that you can seriously hurt or kill somebody with if you apply it improperly. So if you use this kind of stuff, make sure you get training on exactly what to do with it before you even put it around your bag. This completes our bug out bag. You can see it's well rounded. It's useful for a variety of situations. It shouldn't take a whole lot of effort to custom tailor one using this as a starting point to get exactly what you need. We're going to take a break from bug out bags for just a couple of minutes. We're going to skip over to a survival kit. This one is in a belt, but you can put it in a small pack, something easily detachable, something you can carry with you. The point is, your survival kit is very lightweight, and it's got a lot of useful things that don't take up a lot of room. This one starts with what's called a rigger's belt, and then you've got a belt padding that goes inside. This is a 511 brand with an elite rigger's belt. There's a lot of options out there. This goes over your normal belt. If you take a close look, a lot of policemen will carry something like this, and they'll have their handcuffs and gear on it. On one end, I've chosen a PMR 30 by Keltec. It's extremely lightweight. One pistol, 2 loaded magazines. It weighs the same as 1 loaded AR-15 magazine. Extremely lightweight. It holds 30 rounds of .22 Magnum. I've got a lot of coyotes between where I live and where I work if I were have to move through the wilderness. So this gives me a lot to deal with packs of wild animals. The 22 Magnum is still a fairly powerful cartridge, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in our security DVD. But this is something that's easy to deal with. Of course, you can see in the holster there's room for a 4th magazine, one in the pistol, 2 over here on the side, with 1 on that side. This is a lot of firepower in next to no weight. That's 120 rounds of ammunition, and it weighs almost nothing. Now, in this little kit by itself, you'll notice again our red string. That means there is first aid supplies inside this pack. Let's see if we can find them. No. Here, inside our Ziploc bag, a headlight with spare batteries. You're trying to navigate, it's dark, you need to be able to see. This one, of course, can project a red light, so you're not going to really give yourself away and navigate after dark if you need to. Over here, we're going to have a lensatic compass. If you have to figure out where you are, where you're going, if you get a little bit out of sorts, particularly if it's a cloudy day, you got to be able to get your bearings. Our first aid kit. Another Israeli bandage. They're good. You can use them as a tourniquet. You can put them on a limb. They'll put pressure on a wound, and then you can wrap it, and it will hold that pressure for you. So you're not having to apply pressure constantly. You're free to use your hands for whatever else you need. These stay put. Very, very good first aid item. Next, in a Ziploc bag, I've got another mini first aid kit. There's antibiotics, a couple different pieces of gauze, a couple different band-aids, some antihistamine in case I get stung or bit by bees, spiders, whatever. What you want to do, you'll make 2 or 3 of these at once. You will buy several boxes of the various bandages, tapes, gauze, supplies, and then split them into groups. And then make small first aid kits for your bag, your wife's bag, your kid's bag, whatever you need. So this is all together in the Ziploc pouch. Also included in that, some good clothing shears. If you need to cut something away from someone, you'll want to buy some good first aid shears, and they'll slip in there quite readily.